Let's start with the presidential debate. That's not really the right word. It was more like a presidential rumble. I'll take you through some of the highlights and I'll show you how the media generally are very deceptive, viscerally and deceptively anti-Trump, so you can't take most of their reporting or analysis very serious at all. In reality, Donald Trump landed some heavy blows in this contest. He has wounded Joe Biden. But Biden will be happy just to have survived without a fatal mistake. Donald Trump is the ultimate disruptor, as you know. Most of us appreciate that. That's precisely why his supporters love him, and it's the reason the political and media establishment hates him. Never have his disruptive powers, his brazen genius for thumbing his nose at convention, been displayed so obviously as it has today. He turned the revered institution of presidential debates into something closer to a barroom slanging match, a hateful argument between two personal enemies.
The fact is that everything he's saying so far is simply a lie. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
But you
I just want to make sure.
Joe, you're the liar.
I want to make sure.
Graduated last in your class, not first in your class.
I want to make sure.
Mr. President, can you let him finish, sir?
No, he doesn't know how to do that.
There were really two questions to be settled in this presidential debate. Question number one was, Donald Trump, can Donald Trump make enough of his achievements and the contentious issues to stage another come-from-behind election victory? And the other was, can Joe Biden keep his temper, thoughts and words steady and coherent enough to convince undecided voters that he's up to the job? Trump attacked from the start, looking to get a rise out of Biden, who went close to losing his cool.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why
because
would you answer that
because
question?
the question is
the question is Justice, radical left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
As expected, the coronavirus figured prominently, with Biden accusing Trump of mishandling the pandemic, deceiving the public and increasing the death toll.
The 200,000 people that have died on his watch.
Hang on a second. Talk about Biden being a bit dodgy. Let's just interrupt that for a second. What was the number there? 20? 200 million? Oh, 200,000. OK, then. Let's start again.
The 200,000 people that have died on his watch. How many of those have survived? Well, there's 7 million people that contracted COVID. What does it mean for them going forward if you strike down the Affordable Care Act?
Joe, you've had 308,000 military people dying because you couldn't provide them proper health care in the military. So don't tell me about this.
I'm happy to talk about this.
And if you were here, it wouldn't be 200, it would be 2 million people because you were very late on the draw. You didn't want me to ban China, which was heavily infected. You didn't want me to ban
all right, gentlemen,
Europe, which was heavily infected. You would have been much later, Joe.
Mr. President,
much later.
Mr. President.
You're talking about 2 million people.
And on it went. There was jousting over masks versus no masks, jibes about disinfectant and bleach. But I think this pandemic debate just might be overplayed. Does anyone seriously believe the death toll in the US would be one person lower if there'd been a different president in charge? It doesn't make any sense. Biden and the Democrats criticised Trump for banning flights from China right at the start. And it was Democrat governors like Andrew Cuomo making the biggest mistakes, like sending infected people into nursing homes. The real debate is more about how to deal with the economic recovery. And Biden has locked himself in as the high-tax candidate.
I'm going to eliminate the Trump tax cuts. And I'm going to eliminate those tax cuts.
As for Trump, of course, the focus was on his personal tax record.
Will you tell us how much you paid in federal income taxes in 2016 and 2017?
Millions of dollars.
You paid millions of dollars?
Millions of dollars.
So
yes.
not 750.
Millions of dollars. And you'll get to see it. And you'll get to see it. But let me just tell you, Chris, let me just tell you something, that it was the tax laws. I don't want to pay tax.
But there were a number of problems for Joe Biden. He seemed to make excuses for Antifa, the radical anarchist groups involved in violent riots and vandalism right across the US.
somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left-wing. This is a left-wing problem.
White supremacists. Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you got it.
Not militia. That's what his FBI director said.
Well, then you know what?
No, we're done, sir. We're moving on to the next.
We're moving. When a bat hits you over the head, that's not an idea.
Everybody in your administration tells you the truth has a bad idea.
Can I tell you what?
You have no ideas.
Antifa is a dangerous, radical
gentlemen,
group.
we're now.
This organisation setting fire to city blocks is an idea. Biden also seemed to try to advocate for the Green New Deal of the radical left and also disown it.
Green New Deal will pay for itself as we move forward. We're not going to build plants that, in fact, are great polluting plants.
So do you support the Green New Deal?
Pardon me?
Do you support that?
No, I don't support the Green New Deal.
You don't?
So Joe Biden was a little wobbly, to say the least, and he leaves some policy questions open for the Republicans and Trump to exploit in coming days. He also defended the actions of his controversial son Hunter, denying claims about how he was dismissed from the military over drugs and about his business dealings, claims that on the face of it would seem to be true. So Biden really deserves some fact-checking, but Trump isn't particularly hopeful.
No matter what you say to them, they give you bad press on it. It's just fake news. They give you good press, they give me bad press.
Well, Trump is right there, of course. He knows whose side the media is on. For instance, much of the media is now running strong on the story that Trump refused to call out white supremacists in this debate. Yet have a look and see exactly what transpired.
Are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland?
Sure,
are you
I'm
prepared
willing
to
do
specifically
that, but
do it?
Well, go ahead, sir.
I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right wing.
So what are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it.
Do you want to call them? What do you want to call them? Give me a name. Give me a
White
name.
supremacists and
Who would
white
you like me to condemn?
White supremacists and right
Proud
militia.
Boys, stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left.
Sure, he quickly denounced the loony right and then segued on to Antifa and the left. But isn't the real revelation here that Joe Biden defended the neo-Marxist violent extremists of Antifa? Not with most of the media. They clip what you've just seen right down and they say Trump refused to denounce white supremacists. That's fake news. You make up your own mind. Still, Trump won the election last time despite the media because the Democrats put up a terrible candidate and he was able to expose her in the states that mattered. He faces another very ordinary candidate this time and he knows, once again, most of the media won't expose Biden's shortcomings. The point is that to win the election, Trump needs to knock out his opponent. In boxing parlance, he can't win on points. He needs to knock Biden to the floor. That's why this presidential debate descended into the sort of trash talking we've been used to seeing around heavyweight bouts. It was an undignified, bruising and shameless encounter, and it still leaves the election wide open. There are two main takeouts. First, Biden has been dragged out of his bunker into an ugly brawl. He can no longer claim to be above all this and just try to skate through. But second, the good news for Biden is that he's still on his feet. He's the front runner and Trump did not knock him to the ground. There are 2 more debates to go and 34 days.